Members of the press, we appreciate you coming. This is a press conference that's been called by the Coalition to Defend Affirmative Action, Integration and Immigrant Rights and Fight for Equality by any means necessary. And I am very proud to be standing here with other young women leaders who are taking a stand in support of Blasey Ford, the professor at Palo Alto University who came forward yesterday with the courage to detail the assault that took place on her by Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. We are here to make clear that we stand unequivocally and categorically with Professor Blasey Ford. We believe her, we identify with her, we claim her, because we know that Professor Blasey Ford could be any one of us. And we have already been vociferously opposed to Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the U.S. Supreme Court, even before she came forward with her courageous story of what happened. We were already organizing across the country to call for demonstrations and protests and opposition to stop Kavanaugh's appointment to the Supreme Court. The only reason he was chosen by Donald Trump is because he has made clear for 20 years that he believes in unilateral authoritarian powers of the presidency. And with Donald Trump as president, we know that will mean unilateral, unaccountable authoritarianism. We cannot let Donald Trump take over all three branches of the U.S. government. That will place American democracy in peril. And democracy in this country is already in too short order. We don't have enough of it. So what we have, we better defend. And we intend to defend that with every breath of our being by any means necessary. Dr. Ford is someone who we have never met, but we did reach out to her yesterday, anticipating that she will probably be getting a barrage of trolls and threats on her. We know this from experience, because when women come forward against rape and sexual assault and take the courageous step to name the rapist, which Professor Ford has done, we know the kind of backlash that women take, the kind of assassination on our character, the slanders, the blaming of the victim. We know this must not have been a decision that she took lightly at all, because the stakes could not be higher. This is about so much more than just what happened to her that night in that bedroom with Kavanaugh and the other man who tried to assault her judge. This is about the future of the assault on democracy in this nation. And what Kavanaugh did to Blasey Ford that night, his assault on her democratic right to the right to have her body respected and to not be raped or assaulted, is absolutely consistent with his planned assault on democracy in this nation. He's already shown that in his attitude toward abortion rights, in his decision to try to deny the right of an undocumented immigrant young woman to get an abortion. He's made that clear in his assault and in his equivocation on the question of the right of women to get abortion, without apology, without qualification. We already know that he cannot be trusted and has already been discredited from so many different angles. But most importantly, the attack on democracy and the danger and the peril of the future of democracy in this country is our utmost concern. So I'm so glad that I'm here with students from UC Berkeley, from San Francisco State University, from Diablo Valley Community College. All of them are BAMN leaders and organizers in their own right. All of them have been leaders and organizers of some of their own groups at their colleges, as well as here on campus. Every one of them speaks for millions of women and men who stand united in opposition to Kavanaugh's attacks on Blasey Ford and on women, and who stand united in defense of democracy and against Kavanaugh and Trump's attacks on democracy in this nation. So I'm going to open it up for Stephanie Gutierrez, who's a UC Berkeley student and a sophomore. She's a BAM organizer and leader, and she has some things to say.
Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie. Gutierrez, and I'm here to say that we, as UC Berkeley students, as students of the Bay Area, and as students of this nation, that we stand by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. And if the Senate does not postpone the vote of the Supreme Court nomination this Thursday, then Wednesday we are making a call to action for students across the nation to stop their classes, to stop business as usual, and to come out and to protest, to stop the progression of how things are just going as normal, and to make it clear that we need to stand up now, that the situation is urgent, and that right now is our time frame to make sure that democracy is not hindered in this country, and that the story of Christine Blasey Ford is defended, and that other survivors of sexual assault in this country are defended. We stand in their name and for them, and we will be out on the streets this Wednesday if the Senate does not postpone the vote. Thank you.
The vote is not happening on Thursday, right?
It isn't? Did they announce a vote?
Well, because they're testifying on Monday.
Oh,
Both
good,
of them are.
good. Well,
yeah.
that's great to know.
So, okay, just saying.
That's great to know. We
just
didn't
wondering
know
if you had anything to say about that.
Right, I still think that students need to be very aware and listening to what's going on in the news, and be ready and prepared to come out to a call of action to protest against what is happening in this case, to make sure that democracy and the rights of women and Christine Blasey Ford are defended in this country and supported by students and other members of the community who agree and defend with us. Thank you.
Our next speaker is a student at San Francisco State University. She's a BAMN organizer and leader as well. Her name is Soha, and I'm completely going to mispronounce her last name, Ashraf. So I will introduce Ms. Ashraf.
More specifically, that we believe her, and we speak as ourselves, and we speak for an entire body of women who also believe her. This time is critical to oppose Kavanaugh's appointment to the Supreme Court. We cannot have another rapist in the White House, in the Supreme Court. We can't let business go as usual. This all needs to stop. This is concerning for where we're going in our nation. And it's even more terrifying for survivors of sexual assault to see that rapists are now being appointed into the Supreme Court. As Casey was saying, we are ready and prepared to take action into the streets when we need to and have to.
Who's the rapist that you're referring to in the White House? Are you talking about Mr. Trump?
Yeah. Yes, Trump and Kavanaugh, but thank you for asking. So, as well, Trump must go, Kavanaugh must go.
Can you say and spell your name for us? First and last?
Yeah. S-O-H-A, it's my first name, A-S-H-R-A-F.
So our last speaker is a student who graduated from Martin Luther King Middle School right here in Berkeley, then went to school in Walnut Creek, and is now a BAMN organizer and leader at Diablo Valley Community College, and also one of the current co-presidents of the Women's Empowerment Organization at DVC. And together with other leaders in the WE organization and BAMN at DVC, they stood up and they ran an alt-right misogynist and racist, Gautam Reddy, off that campus just a few months ago, and set an example for what and how to take matters into our own hands when it comes to getting justice against rapists, sexual assaulters, stalkers, and racist stalkers and harassers too. So I'd like you to welcome Sylvia Gathandu, who's going to be our next speaker.
My name is Sylvia Gathandu. I am the co-president of Women's Empowerment, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of Women's Empowerment and say that we're supporting Christine Blasey and what she is doing, what she's coming forth, and exposing Kavanaugh for his assault and his rape and everything that he's done to her. And I wanted to say that we cannot allow someone who is a predator into our government. We cannot. How do we say this to the faces of all these women and say that we're going to allow a sexual predator into this office? How could we say that? It's not safe, it's not fair, and it's wrong. And we're not going to allow that. Like everybody else said, if they don't postpone, if nothing happens, we're going out, we're fighting, and we're going to stop this because it's wrong. Thank you.
So, if people need to know how to spell some of the speakers' names, then please feel free to approach us afterwards and we can give you their spelling. I didn't introduce myself. My name's Yvette Pilarka, and I'm a national organizer with BAMN. I also teach in Berkeley, and I'm on the executive board of the Berkeley Federation of Teachers, but I'm here representing BAMN. However, the AFT did take a position, a very strong position, over the summer, absolutely 100% opposing Kavanaugh's nomination and appointment. And we know this is a position that we are joined by unions across the country, by civil rights organizations, and by individuals, the majority of whom oppose Donald Trump, want him out of office, would welcome his resignation or removal, and also are appalled by the possibility of another Clarence Thomas, but in the form of Brett Kavanaugh, joining the Supreme Court, who would then not only be a Clarence Thomas, but would also be the person giving a blank check to Donald Trump to take us on the road toward a right-wing authoritarian dictatorship. We take this seriously, and we do not use these words lightly. We use them very deliberately. Dictatorships do not happen overnight. They're done in steps. They're done by certain people gaining power and then using their power to turn things that were illegal into things that are legal, changing the laws, taking over the different branches of government, and then manipulating the whole situation to suit their ends. We can see and learn the lessons from history, and we're applying them now. We can defeat Trump. We know we can defeat Kavanaugh. Some of the young women already said we're making a call to action. We are very glad that the vote's going to be postponed and it's going to be put off until next week. We will send out announcements to everybody about the actions that we're going to be calling, since we don't have to quite do it before Thursday, and we're glad about that. That already is a victory in and of itself. But we're not just here to win small victories. We're here to win it. We're here to defend democracy and to fight to its standard. And so we welcome and thank you for coming, for covering this, because there is nothing more important facing this nation today. We believe that, we know it to be true. And when we say and learn the lessons from the previous dictatorships and fascist regimes, and people say never again, we say never again is now. And it's up to us then to make sure it doesn't happen. So thank you, and feel free to say your and for other people who are here, we're having a BAMN meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. You are absolutely welcome to join. Please sign up with us and give us your information. So we'd love for you to join. Yes.